All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Eat More Football, the show that satisfies your craving for hot takes. We are in episode 8 now. It's crazy to think that. I mean, we just got this show started, over the summer. And now we're taking it all the way into college football season. So that's great. Good for us, Thank you to everyone who's been supporting the show. I'm telling you, once we get to episode 10, then we'll have a party. So yeah, we'll get started with me. Wow, this week in sports. All right, this week in sports, mainly football focus this week. Not all sports this week, but we could talk about Aaron Judge still not hitting the home run yet. So we'll keep you posted. I think everyone's rooting for Aaron Judge now, just so we can get off the college football screens. But so Aaron Judge still not hitting the home run. BYU bringing me back to old Florida times, 2020, throwing a shoe on the field. I mean, my goodness, come on, guys. Didn't you learn? You got to learn from those mistakes. In other news, RG3 is continuing to be really weird. And I'll flash up the picture up at the top. Here's what he says. RG3's three keys to the game. And this was during the TCU game. Spidey meme game, eat up the grass, and Mad Max. I mean, he elaborated on it, I'm sure.
Sound logic to me.
But if you just take it for what it is, like Spidey meme game, dude, what are you talking about, man? What,
is that the one where they all point at each other?
Maybe. I don't even know. I didn't watch it.
We need that meme for when we put videos up.
Oh, yeah. Just all three of us. Oh, that's funny. So, yeah, I mean, that's just weird. I like RG3. He's cool and all, but he's just said some weird stuff. Noah, your favorite quote from him came a couple weeks ago, right?
Got to get that booty cheek on the field.
Yep, that is what he said. So, in other news, we are in episode 8, as I said, and we have not actually brought food on the show. So I'm at a cookout right now. I'm inside watching the Florida game, 52-10. I think that might end up being the final score because there's 5 minutes left and we're not doing anything. So, but anyways, I got a hot dog right here, guys. This is our first food for EMF, just a plain old hot dog. Oh, it's delicious. Maybe you'll get some ASMR with that. I'm not sure how close the mic was to my face, but
truth or mouth closed.
It was a delicious hot dog. All right. Next, we'll go to week 4. What was it? Week 5? I'm telling you, we're already halfway through the season too.
I'm about to go on week 6.
Yeah, it's crazy. So week 5 recap. Friday, number 15 Washington faced off against UCLA. Michael Penix Jr. had himself a game. I mean, 33 for 48, 345 yards, 4 touchdowns. Great game by Michael Penix. Navy had a narrow loss. Sorry, Craig. But, I mean, and with that, the Air Force quarterback went 6 for 8 for 156 yards and 1 touchdown. And Navy still lost. Like, that's pretty atrocious. So, I'll move on from that. Number 18, Oklahoma, defensive struggles. They continue for Brent Venables. I mean, come on, man. No secondary whatsoever. It's just ridiculous. And Dylan Gabriel might be out for next game. Probably not, but we'll see how that story develops. Dirty hit. That was a dirty hit on Dylan Gabriel that happened. So keep our hopes and prayers up for him. All right, number 4, Michigan, dominant defense over Iowa, who still has no offense. So, I'm not really surprised by that in any way. Number 7, Kentucky versus 14 Ole Miss. Great game. There were just some, yet again, more missed calls by the ref. So, I mean, there was that last targeting call that probably shouldn't have given Ole Miss the ball back, right?
Yeah, that was a fumble. Should have been a first down.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess the games turn out the way they do. So, looks like Florida has a player down. I'm not sure who that is. We're getting distracted over here. All right, number 25, Kansas State on a roll after a tight game with Texas Tech, the Red Raiders. They shot up to number 20 after winning that game at home. FSU, phenomenal game. They came back. Final score 28-23, I think.
31-21.
31-21, really?
The Wake game? Wake Forest?
Yeah.
Yep.
31 10-point game.
Great. I picked Wake Forest. Thank you very much. Noah also picked Wake Forest on the show.
Yes.
On the show, yeah.
On the show. But in the top 20.
Opinion wavered a little bit. Should have stuck with my gut.
Seriously. It was just an undisciplined game by FSU. I mean, I didn't like what I saw from them this week. I mean, the amount of holding calls they got was just ridiculous. I'm almost 100% sure they ended up racking up probably at least 60 yards in penalties. I mean, it was just terrible.
11 penalties for 96 yards.
Ooh, that's worse than
Football
I thought.
Field.
Yep, that's terrible. I mean, so if they're going to win against NC State this next week, they need to clean that up. Close comeback, but Wake Forest offense was too much for the Noles for this week. Oklahoma State gets revenge for the 2021 Big 12 championship game against Baylor. I'm not sure what the score was for that one.
36-25.
36-25. Close, but they pulled it out. The Fighting Gundies.
Gundy.
Yep. Georgia Tech, big upset at Pitt with the new interim head coach. Who is that, Craig? I don't even know who it is.
He's the assistant head coach, offensive line coach, Brent Key. He's a Georgia Tech graduate, actually. He coached under Saban for a while at Alabama.
Yeah, O-line coach.
Nice, that's good. Well, it's interesting to see, it's just for 1 week, but just such a dramatic change, because I'm not sure, but I think if Jeff Collins was still there, they probably wouldn't have won that game. Probably from a play calling standpoint.
Yeah, I've watched some of that game. Pitt looked like the team that Georgia Tech has been in the past 3 or 4 weeks, and Georgia Tech probably looked more like Pitt. So it was a weird Pat Narduzzi flip flop game. So he's always good for one of those a year, probably at Pitt.
Yeah. Number 17, Texas A&M loses outright. I mean, 42-24. That stinks. What are you guys doing over there? I mean,
beautiful.
And I put in my notes, Texas A&M loses again. Because again, I mean, it feels like they've lost every game at this point. They're just kicking themselves.
All that money paid to Jimbo and the recruiting just to go like 7-5.
Seriously,
4 turnovers.
It's just so bad. I mean, and I mentioned in my notes they're out of the playoffs. Desmond Howard, what do you have to say now? Because he had
out of the playoffs for a while.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they were still 1 loss. Now they are out of the playoffs officially. So, Desmond's playoff picture is whack, as we know. So, Texas A&M, one of those teams. Well, and Pitt, because they've lost twice now, right? So that's
Pitt's only lost 1, I believe.
Well, didn't they lose
2? Tennessee.
Yeah.
Tennessee
and Georgia Tech.
So that's 2 of Desmond Howard's teams that are now out of the playoffs. Congratulations, Des. I don't know what you were doing. And we thought last week that A&M's identity was more defense versus Miami. Now it's not even defense because they allowed 42 points. I mean, it's Mike Leach and the air raid and whatever, but I'm telling you, what are they doing? Like, they need to figure out, are they a team that uses literally an offense from 2014, or are they a team that has defense? Like, what are you trying to, pull over the fans' heads here? So anyways, Kansas remains undefeated, finally ranked number 17 in the AP poll. Wow, huge touchdown allowed by Florida, 52-16 now. An update on the game. Kansas remains undefeated. America's team, Arkansas and Kansas. Everyone's loving the upset over here. So, Michigan State loses bad to Maryland. I mean, I think it was only, 27-13?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. It was a 13-point game, I think.
But the only reason I put bad was because the Mel Tucker extension and the amount of money they're paying him. That's a pretty bad loss.
Yeah.
For a coach who's getting paid that much and who just got extended. That's the only reason I constitute it as bad. LSU come behind win to beat Auburn and Jordan Hare. I picked Auburn. It happens. Bad pick. It was actually a good pick.
Common Auburn L.
Yeah, I'm sure Noah is rooting for LSU. for that game.
Of course.
So.
I mean, if you look at that game, LSU had 270 yards, 1 turnover, 94 yards in penalties, and their quarterback was 8 for 20 for 80 yards. Their star receiver, Boutte, or however you say his name, had 1 catch for 4 yards. And then Auburn had 438 yards, but 4 turnovers. So on all accounts, Auburn was the better team for most of the night, except for turnovers.
And that killed them. And I watched every turnover. I just suffered through every single one.
Right, they did that little end around. The dude threw it, just an interception.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Just little mistakes. All right, Nebraska, I think a big win over Indiana. For that program, just trying to build as much momentum as possible, trying to get a new head coach and everything. I think it's a good win over, a bad Indiana team, but it is a win nonetheless. So, go Nebraska. Good for winning. Now we'll get into the really hardcore stuff from this Saturday. Georgia almost lost to Missouri, 26-22. 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks in a row that Georgia has looked a little wobbly, in their performance. So what are you guys' thoughts on that?
I thought it was beautiful. I think it is sad that Georgia almost lost to a team that doesn't even have fans in both end zones. They have an M that's made of rocks in one of their end zones, and they still almost lost it.
I think it's easy to say that this is the Lonnie Tidmarsh curse because he came on our show and Georgia's looked terrible the last 2 weeks. And he actually told me that last week before this game that
we should
he
have
should
him
have
on
never
more
come on
than.
the show.
but
in all reality, though, I think it just speaks to, and Kirby Smart said in the post-game interview, how hard it is to win. I don't care who it is. You go on the road in major college football, and when you're number one, teams are going to play up to beat you. Alabama knows that week in, week out. Ohio State knows that week in, week out. Georgia is starting to learn that now again, and it's tough. I mean, you don't play well, and people have a chance to beat you. And you can say they're dominant, whatever, but motivation's a huge, huge factor. And regardless, they're 18 to 23-year-old kids, and they don't want to be there probably as much as they'd want to be playing against Alabama or Tennessee or somebody like that. So you're going to have letdowns. But to be able to win a football game and still be undefeated when you played terrible for most of the game and got outplayed most of the game on the road in the SEC, I think says a lot to the fact that they are a good football team and still can get it done. The bottom line is wins and losses, right? They can still get it done when it's crunch time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I really think the only reason why Georgia won that last half comeback, right? The halftime adjustments, that was huge, and Kirby Smart is great at doing that. And they just out-athleted Missouri at the end. And that's really just what happens with all these bigger schools who have, dumping all their money into recruits and everything. That's what's going to happen. At the end of the day, most of the time a smaller team can play up to that level, but at the end, you're pretty much just going to get out-athleted. And there are times when that doesn't happen, but I stand by the fact, the athletes are just
Georgia needs to watch out too. They got next week they have Auburn, cupcake, well, almost cupcake. Vanderbilt should be a cupcake. Florida's going to be a close game. Tennessee, Mississippi State, and Kentucky. All 4 of those games back to back. So Georgia better start.
I mean, I hate to bring up past things, but everybody laughed at me when I said that Mississippi State was going to be the one that beat Georgia this year. And Missouri just about beat Georgia. So you just never know.
I can see it.
Yeah. I mean, now, Noah, you keep saying Auburn's a cupcake. I say watch out. I think it'll be closer than the experts think. Now, I might be totally wrong, and Georgia might obliterate them, which, that's a high possibility of that happening. But sure. I don't know.
Are you talking about Auburn?
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
Because I just saw a Frozen Man for a couple seconds on my screen.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. We're having more Wi-Fi issues this week, guys. So hang in with us. We're almost over. So, no, I really think it'll be a close game within 2 touchdowns, I said. I think it'll be within 2 touchdowns. So, I don't know.
I mean, Auburn's got the athletes. I mean, I don't think that's a question that Auburn has the athletes. It's just getting them to play.
No, for sure. All right. Next, NC State versus Clemson. DJ ran for 73 yards. which is pretty good for DJ standards. I mean, he's, like thicker the kicker over here from Missouri. I mean, he's 500 pounds. So good for DJ for running. But that means there's not much O-line protection. And I saw it in that game. Not any O-line protection for DJ. A lot of the times he just had to take it with his feet or throw it away. But, I mean, it was a good game. The final score, what was it, Craig? You probably know.
I think it was 30-20.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of got
Clemson controlled it most of the game. I mean, they were up, and, it's a typical NC State, Clemson game, tight game, but Clemson's the better football team, period.
Yeah.
And at home.
And that's another thing, out athleting. Another example of that. So not a whole lot to say there. All right. With that, we will actually, let's recap for the week for guest picker. Maribeth, 4-1. It's a pretty good record. She leads Lonnie, our two guest pickers. Lonnie went 3-2 a couple weeks ago, and then Maribeth went 4-1. Everyone on here went 4-1, except one person. Who could that be?
I wonder who it is.
TJ Schissel. TJ, me. I went 5-0 for the picks on the show this week. That never happens. I win at nothing. So I take my small victories, but I picked the same teams in the top 20 as I did in the show. So that means
you had
that's
a good
already
week in the top 20.
I did, which we will cover that after what's cooking. So, all right, let us move on to our guest picker, Gabe Jennings, huge Florida fan, me and Noah's friend from school. So let us get him on, and we will make some week 6 picks. All right. Thank you so much, Gabe, for being here on the show today. Resident Florida fan. Yes. We will get this done real quick. Starting off with Missouri, Florida, big Florida matchup, homecoming this week. Mm-hmm. After I'm watching the Florida game right now, as we've probably already stated, but it's looking like a blowout. So we're looking to continue that momentum. Missouri versus Florida. We'll do same order. That would be Craig, Noah, me, and then Gabe. So Craig, who you got? Missouri, Florida.
I got the Gators at home. I think they're playing pretty well today. I think they'll continue that to next week.
Gators, easy. Missouri is not a good football team. I think Florida's kind of like finally figured it out. So
that's what many would say. But like we were talking earlier, as a Florida fan, you got to learn to temper your expectations, right? Even though we have high expectations as a program, you got to learn to be like, hey, this probably isn't going to happen, and just say, we might not win here. So spread is Florida -10.5. I think that's probably where I got us. I think we can cover. We have the potential to cover and possibly run away with it. So I got Florida, homecoming matchup. Should be nice weather next week. So, Gabe, who you got?
I got Florida. I think we're going to get it done. I think AR is going to show out. So.
If he plays like he's doing today, we will win. Definitely, for sure. All right, next big SEC matchup. Number whatever Tennessee. I don't know. We're trying to. My ESPN's acting up, folks. I mean, come on. What do you expect? It's ESPN.
Tennessee is the number 8.
Oh, still? Okay, so I'm right.
Yeah.
Number 8, Tennessee versus LSU in Death Valley. Craig, start us off.
In Death Valley, it's a noon kickoff, I believe, though. So I'm going with the Vols. I think the Vols are playing well. LSU's they're terrible on offense. I don't see how they can actually beat a team that actually has a decent offense, which Tennessee obviously does. So I see Tennessee going in and winning in Death Valley for a noon kick.
I agree. I think it'll be closer than the experts think, but Tennessee's just too quick on offense. I think they'll probably win by 10 plus points.
Yeah, I mean, I got Tennessee. I'm sorry, Florida fan here. We probably don't have any LSU fans. Man, I just hate LSU so much. I hate both of these teams. But Tennessee, they are unstoppable. Their offense, potent offense. Not much defense, as we stated last week, but I really think Tennessee will pull out the win here in Death Valley.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna have to go Tennessee. I think their offense can kill you on so many levels. You know, they have playmakers. I think they'll get it done.
Nice. All right. Texas versus Oklahoma, Red River Showdown, back again. This is, I mean, that's going to be a great game. Especially Texas being the inconsistent program that they are right now, and Oklahoma really stinking. So it's at Oklahoma this year. No, that's not true. It's in Dallas.
Cotton Bowl.
Cotton Bowl.
Every year.
Every year. I messed that same thing up with the A&M game, A&M Arkansas. I said Kyle Field, but line is not released yet officially, but Texas is favored to win. They're going to come in probably around -4 is what Pick Center is predicting. So Craig starts off. Who you got?
Hook 'em horns. Like my friend Matthew McConaughey would say, all right, all right, all right. Hook 'em horns.
I got the Longhorns. I think Dylan Gabriel, if he even plays, because he might still be injured, but he's so inconsistent. He's so like overthrows with every single little short pass. Quinn Ewers might come back. He lit Alabama up before he got injured. So Texas.
Hook 'em. As much as I love Michael Turk, the punter for Oklahoma, shout out to Hang Time, Michael Turk. Go check him out on YouTube. I'm part of Hang Gang. Man, I'll take Texas. Bijan Robinson, if Quinn Ewers comes back, he's expected to. Man, I think Texas has the capability to run away with this real quick. If Oklahoma doesn't figure out their defense, very uncharacteristic of Brent Venables' defense last week versus TCU. So, yeah, Gabe.
And the week before.
And the week before.
I know where I'm going with it, man. Like y'all said, Oklahoma's inconsistent. I think Bijan's gonna have a amazing game against Oklahoma, and if Ewers comes back, it's over for them.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Next pick, number 20. Well, not number 20 now. Jeez, I'm telling you, I'm behind on all these rankings. Number 25, Arkansas versus number 23, Mississippi State. At Mississippi State, I think you guys know where I might be leaning on this. But Craig, take us off.
So this is a clash of two of my most enjoyable SEC coaches, Mike Leach and Sam Pittman. But I only have 2 words. Even though I love the Pirate, I have 2 words. Yes, sir. Go Hogs.
1 word, Craig. Yes, sir.
Not last night. Arkansas did not get a yes, sir. But I'm going to go with the Cowbells. I think Arkansas's, like Josh Pate says, they're in wounded hog mode, but they're extra wounded now. So I think the Cowbells are going to get to them. I'm picking the Fighting Mike Leaches.
I agree. I'm going with the Pirate. Cowbell is on a roll after that win in Texas A&M, not in Texas A&M, but with Texas A&M.
And in Texas.
I mean, Texas A&M stinks. We know that. But, with that number 1 recruiting class, they still got it done. Mississippi State just killed them. We've already talked about it, but we don't know what A&M's identity is. But Mike Leach actually figured out a way to run the ball last week, he was just running all over A&M's defense, which is supposed to be really good. But I'll count on Mississippi State to pull out the run game and the air raid Mike Leach offense. So give me the Cowbell.
Before we go to Gabe's pick, I do want to bring up a transgression from both of you guys, Noah and TJ. You guys both picked Mississippi State to finish dead last in the West preseason. That's a fun fact for you guys.
Yeah. I didn't know Will Rogers is going to go crazy this year, but okay.
No one ever does. So.
Man, I'm going to pick Arkansas. I think they're going to get it done. I think when they played Alabama, they kind of let them loose. It's Alabama, but I think they're going to get it done.
Nice, good pick. I think it's going to be a great game, close match. All right, yeah. Let's go through these a little bit quicker. We're running a little short on time, but Auburn versus number 2 Georgia. This is always a great matchup. Typically, not even not the past couple of years, but even when one team is highly ranked and the other is not, Auburn or whomever always finds a way to kick it into high gear. So Craig, start us off.
Georgia, W.
Georgia, W. Not even close. One of the rare times I'll root for Georgia.
Within 2 touchdowns, Georgia.
Georgia blowout.
Blowout? You got the blowout? Man,
Auburn's terrible.
I know. But Georgia struggled, man. I'm not sure if it's one of those flukes, but man, 2 weeks in a row, Georgia has shown us that they really aren't as good as people say.
Missouri's terrible too.
I know that, and that's what I'm saying. Missouri stinks. So, all right. NC, North Carolina, the Fighting Mac Browns versus Miami, the U in Miami. Who you got?
I think Miami bounced back with a win here.
You said in Miami, which doesn't matter because they have like no home field advantage at all.
Yeah, they have 2 fans. Yeah.
So, this is a toss-up for me. I'm gonna have to check. Okay, Miami's a 4-point favorite. I'll go with the U.
Yeah, I think it'll be a really, really close game. I think I might pick the upset. North Carolina fighting Drake Mays. Great quarterback, averaging like a million points a game or something. But I think it'll be close. I expect North Carolina to win, and I expect them to cover, but close.
I think Miami wins by 2 touchdowns. They aren't
Really?
amazing. They aren't amazing, but I think they're gonna bounce back. I think they're gonna have a game, where they take off with it a little bit. I think this is the game.
Wow, bold prediction. Nice.
I could see that. They've been being told how terrible they are for the last 2 weeks. So.
Yeah, that is true. I see that. All right, number 16, BYU versus Notre Dame. Fighting Irish struggling this season. BYU haven't played anybody as always. Who you got?
I think Notre Dame has kind of got their stuff together in the last few weeks, so I'd go with Notre Dame.
I'm gonna pick BYU. I think their offense is very well. Even if they didn't play great against Oregon, I'm not sure Notre Dame's got it together, but their offense still is not great. So I'm gonna go with the Cougars, or the Fighting Mormons, as I like to call them.
Go Irish.
That's all.
Wow. I think Notre Dame's gonna lose. I don't think they're gonna win. I have BYU. I think it's gonna be a close matchup though. But BYU, I think they take the win.
Yep, not much to say. I mean, it should be really even. I mean, Notre Dame, they've struggled, but I agree with Craig. I mean, I think they've gotten it together. Still not perfect, obviously, but they've gotten it together. All right, next matchup. Unranked FSU dropping out of the rankings after that loss against Wake Forest versus number 14 NC State at NC State, Raleigh, North Carolina. Who you got?
NC State at home. I think Florida State's still a good football team. Wake's a good football team. They beat them last week, but I think NC State's better than Florida State.
I agree. I'm going to go with the Wolfpack.
Yep, I agree. What do they do? This? They do that.
Yeah.
Not this. This.
I'm going to actually go FSU. I think FSU is a much better football team than people expected and, better than, people still think. So I think FSU has it.
That's a great pick, Gabe. Nice upset. I like it. That boldness, that gets you far. All right, last matchup, game day matchup, the premier game in college football. Number 18, TCU in Lawrence, Kansas versus the number 17 ranked Jayhawks. Battle of the what the heck is going on right now? Because, I mean, it might as well be 2007 again. TCU's ranked for the first time, like, in a while. They're typically always good, but Kansas is ranked for the first time, since 2000 something?
Probably early 2000s, yeah.
Yeah, early 2000s. So, Craig, start us off.
Kansas is my dream team. I predicted about 3 weeks ago that they were going to go to a bowl. I think this is the win that gets them to 6. And I'll mention it. I mentioned it earlier on the show, but they got a long road ahead after this game. So I think they get it here, and then they might struggle a little bit the rest of the year.
In the words of Journey, 6 is the goal. 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 6 is Don't stop believing. Hold on to that W, Kansas. Let's go, Jayhawks.
Fighting Jayhawks win in Lawrence. Sellout crowd for like the third straight week because I guess they have fans now. I wasn't sure that those existed, but yeah, go Jayhawks. I like TCU though. I like them, after the win against Oklahoma, but I think it's just one of those games. So go Kansas.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Kansas too. They surprised me. They surprised me a lot.
Surprised everybody.
Yeah, jumping in the ranking, I thought they were just a basketball school, but proved me wrong.
Yeah, man. I mean, hey, number 17, first time in what? Yeah, I guess probably 15 years. Wow, an amazing catch. I'm watching the Florida game right now. I'm gonna restate that many times through the episode. Florida game. This is a blowout, man. I mean, come on, guys. What are we doing here? That's why I got Florida beating Mizzou. But all right. Thank you so much, Gabe, for being on the show. We'll probably have you on at another point, later down in the season, or maybe during the O word off season. But we won't talk about that. So yeah, man, no problem. It's always great having you here, and we will see you whenever we have you on next. And we will now move on to what's cooking.
All right, welcome back. And what's cooking? Answering your burning questions about sports, football, and everything in life. All right, so our first question comes to us from Jake in San Diego. He's been great to send us a few questions here recently. And his question is, will the expansion to the 12-team playoff slow down conference realignment? Theoretically, if it's the highest 6 conference champions that get in, it might make more sense for USC and UCLA to stay in the Pac-12 versus going to the Big Ten, where an automatic bid is going to be much more difficult. What's our thought on that? So I think he's got a great point about the playoff itself. Yes, USC, UCLA, both obviously having really good seasons right now, which, hey, shout out to Chip Kelly. I know we mentioned him earlier, got that win. They are a quiet, sneaky 5-0. I think everybody jumped off the bandwagon when they were barely beat South Alabama, but watch out. UCLA's making some noise. But the point is, they probably have a better chance to be a league champion in the Pac-12 right now, current state, than they would be against Ohio State in the Big Ten, right? So
why join the Big Ten? So why join the Big Ten is my question. Well, yeah, it's all about the money. No tradition anymore.
It's all about the money. And if you're one of those teams, there's also, from what a lot of people think, is East Coast bias as well from a ranking perspective. So those West Coast teams a lot of times feel like they don't get the love that the voters, the AP voters, because they're on so late, right? Pac-12 at night or whatever. So they don't get a lot of viewing by a lot of writers on the East Coast. So they may think that they'll be ranked higher because they're in the Big Ten now, playing in some of those media markets with the Big Ten network and all that stuff. So I could see it going both ways. It'd be interesting, but I think at the end of the day, people aren't focused on the playoff itself. Those schools are focused on mega deals and money.
Now, that's only if they can win. If they can win, then we're in business. But even still, you're having to compete with Ohio State every single year for that automatic bid. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. I mean, sure, you get all the money, but you have to compete against 10 times harder teams than in the Pac-12. So
right. But also think about it right now with, how many SEC teams, let's put it this way, are the SEC teams looked upon better to get in the 4-team playoff right now than a Pac-12 team is?
Yes, definitely.
Yes, because of strength of schedule, because of how tough it is versus the Pac-12. So they could also look at it from that standpoint too. Hey, we got a better shot. We're playing in a better league. Even if we don't get the automatic, we might get a better chance to even get into that 12-team playoff.
Definitely.
Yeah. So good question, Jake. We appreciate that. We have one more question today. It is from Jerry. Her question today is, this was directed at me specifically. She says, I know you went to school at the Naval Academy. Go Goats. I added the Go Goats. She didn't put that in there. Who recommended you for admission? So typically with the Naval Academy admission, you have to get a congressional nomination through the person that is attached to your state. For athletes, a lot of times they're able to give you a direct appointment, which is what happened to me. The superintendent of the Naval Academy can directly appoint certain people to get into the academy that are qualified. Obviously, they have to be qualified academically and all the other stipulations. So I personally did not have to go through all the congressional nomination and those sorts. I believe that I would have been able to get through that process and still get admitted just because of my merit academically and test scores and all that. But I did not have to go through that process, thankfully, because it's an extra step, it's paperwork and things like that. So as a recruited athlete, I was able to get that superintendent of the Naval Academy nomination to get into school. So, but most people, yes, do have to get that congressional nomination.
Craig's over here getting the smart test scores. He's going to win the Nerd Heisman or whatever they call it.
Nerd Heisman.
Valedictorian.
Yeah, no, they were calling it yesterday.
Nerd Heisman.
Because Christian Wilkins was on the show and they were talking about him getting like the Nerd Heisman or like the whatever it's called.
Well, I don't know if I'm as smart as Christian Wilkins. I know I'm not as good as a football player, and I definitely can't do a split like you could do.
Oh, yeah. No.
Yeah, that dude's crazy.
I'd rip something. I mean, seriously.
Andy Bernard.
Yeah, seriously, landing on his car keys.
God. Don't put your car keys in your pockets.
Jeez. Oof. All right. Let's move on. So Craig, take us off with Tales from the Top 20.
All right, Tales from the Top 20. So thanks to Hurricane Ian, we've still got a couple games going on. We know that the Gators' current state are going to win that game, but we didn't know that going into show prep. We also have one more game that was part of the Top 20 that is not completed. It's actually going to be played on Wednesday. It's UCF SMU. So we're going to hold on to that one and compile those records and those picks once we get there. But in the 18 games that we saw this weekend, we have some results. TJ Schissel coming back from the dead.
That's right, baby. We're back. We're back, baby.
Back from the dead. He's 16-2 overall this week in the top 20. So that was a fantastic week.
And you know why? Actually, it's not why. I listened to Josh Fate about the Auburn because he said LSU on upset alert, and it almost happened. If I wouldn't have gotten that pick right, oh man, I would have been in business. But I still am. I'm still cooking with gas.
So you did pick Auburn.
I did pick Auburn. Yes,
Okay.
What was the other one you picked? Or what other one did you get wrong?
Oklahoma.
Oh yeah.
I was
almost
literally.
You almost picked Oklahoma.
I almost picked TCU because I had to do I redid my picks like 3 times. I'm not sure, Craig, if you saw that.
I only saw one where it was like a Georgia pick or something.
Oh, good. Okay. Twice. Yeah, because I accidentally picked Missouri and I saw it like right before kickoff. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not good. Luckily, if Missouri would have pulled it out, then I would be, making up those losses. But no, I was looking at the stats and I saw, TCU winning in a bunch of stat categories. So I'm like, but because, TCU always finds a way to upset people at home, and especially at night, that's where TCU always ends up shining. So, who knows, but you win some, you lose some.
Good week. If you got the Florida win, it'll be final here in a second. You'll be 17-2. And then if you can get your pick, which I think you picked SMU over UCF. Is that correct?
Yes, I did. I did.
You might end up at 18-2, which is one of our best records so far this season.
And before we go to the next one, breaking news: Colorado just fired its head coach after starting the season 0-5.
Wow.
This will be released on Thursday, so people will already know that.
Tell you what, man, this show is we're on the cutting edge. We released Colorado's firing. We talked about Georgia Tech's firing last week. People need to start Pete Thamel or whatever his name is and Bruce Feldman. They need to dial in and get their game together. We're breaking news before them.
Yeah, come on, guys.
So we had several other people at 14-4 to this point. Tammy, again, solid week. Delane, John Kuh, Stephen, Craig, Jeff, Jerry, and CB. So quite a few people at 14-4. So that gets us to the season total current state with one game remaining this week. Tammy still holds a 1-game lead. We have John and Delane tied for second. Craig, Stephen, and Carrie Beth tied for fourth. Jake, Lindsay tied for seventh, and Russell and Ted round out the top 10, tied for ninth. So we'll do our bulls market, bear market. So just a little information. I went through that pretty quick last. A bull market is one that's doing really well, shooting up, high. And then a bear market's a slow market that's not doing very well. So our bulls market today is TJ. He shot up 7 spots to number 11 this week with that great record. And then Jeff shot up 4 spots to number 14 with his record this week. And then for our bears market, we got Uncle Russell lost 7 spots to number 9, did not have as good a week. And then John Chuh, 5 spots down, and Darren 4 spots down. All right. Our other superlatives, we've got You Should Work for Vegas.
Down goes the general.
What are we doing here, guys? Oh, man.
Brandon Surfboard.
Yeah. Hey, there's the guest picker from last week.
Guest picker. You're a leading guest picker. 4-1. We just saw you go through with the paddleboard. So
we'll keep that in. No bloopers this time.
No bloopers.
Must be the secret. So anyway, back to being focused. Our superlatives. You should work for Vegas. TJ, you should work for Vegas. Okay. You were 2-0 in your 2 upset picks. Now we'll see.
That's right. I should. I'd be rich.
If SMU beats UCF, then you'll be 3-0 on your upset picks this week.
That's right. That's right.
I also went with SMU. All right.
Good
Shaken,
pick.
not stirred. All right. Jason and Dean picked 7 upsets this week. So I think you're starting to see a trend. All right. People that pick the most upsets maybe aren't as high up. So we got to be careful. It's a nice balance of what we're doing. All right. And then our last 2, I added another superlative. Okay. Because it was fitting for this week. The dog ate my homework superlative. Okay. So this person did not get their picks in this week. Can anybody guess who it is, TJ?
I bet it's John Christopherson, John Chuh.
John Chuh. It was John Chuh. Did not get his picks in. So right now his record is 8-10 for the week.
Wow.
So that's why he dropped so many points.
That's what happens. That's what, wait, who had the 8-10 record to put John there?
I'm going to protect the innocent right now on live air.
Okay.
We'll see the email set forth, but I'll protect the innocent on live air right now. I'll send it in that confidential email because the world will be able to see this.
Yeah, I'll edit it in later.
And then our last category here was the pick of the week. Now, TJ did have some really good picks, okay, but his weren't the best upsets that got picked. We had 2 people pick TCU over Oklahoma. Now, it was only a 5-point spread, so it's not like it was like this huge 16-point spread like Navy over ECU last week, but 5 points, and only 2 people picked in the top 20 out of 28. So that's a pretty stinking good pick. And those people that picked that were Jerry, who had a much better week this week, and then Jason Candeto picked TCU over OU. So 26 of us got that one wrong, and only 2 got it right. So congratulations on that. So another fun week in top 20, and standings are changing. Some people think they may be locked in, but you have a great week like TJ, you shoot yourself up that leaderboard, or you have a bad week and you shoot yourself down that leaderboard.
Like the general. Down goes the general.
Down goes the general.
Wait, in the words of White Christmas, what can you do with a general? So, anyways, well, that joke didn't land very well. I'm very sorry.
I don't think Noah's seen that movie.
No.
I've seen it. I just zone out because I don't like it then.
Oh, come on. You got to like the White Christmas. Like
it's like nothing happens.
And so
Christmas, a lot happens.
This is live, and we can edit this. We are here live on the scene. Hurricane Ian has hit DeLand, Florida, and deposited a lake in our backyard that's normally just grass. And you can see our guest picker, Maribeth, is about to go paddleboarding on water that's currently probably about 4 inches deep. So we'll see how that. I'll give you a later update on that because I may have to go rescue her. I'm glad the show's almost over.
All right, thanks, Craig. Thank you for that news update, the news briefing, breaking news. So, all right, good show. Thank you once again for Gabe for coming on. As I said, maybe we'll have him on probably during the off season or something like that. So, yeah, as always, we have fun making the show. Keep the comments rolling in. Craig will be there at the ender wearing his classic daddy shirt that he wears every single week. We're not going to redo it. We're
Tennessee baseball fan or something?
Yeah.
Big Daddy, baby. I don't know where I got that shirt. We had a coach at Georgia Tech. This nickname was Big Daddy. Phenomenal. Yeah.
Like there's my
Ron West.
My Eagles friends are outside wishing ill will to all the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence still stinks. 3 lost fumbles.
Yeah. Hey, it's wet. It's wet though. It's raining. So I'm not like
it never rains in Florida, so that's probably why.
Oh wait.
Well, it hasn't. Like the Jags haven't played in a rain game this whole season yet, which is surprising. So
I guess the Colts they did.
He's an NFL quarterback. He should be able to throw a wet.
You gotta hold on to the
they're not even wet.
Yeah. I understand. Anyways, thank you everyone for supporting the show. Still working on trying to get some merch out. We'll keep you updated on that. So thank you everyone. All the support that we've gotten. Coming up on episode 10, I don't know, maybe we'll have a party or something, a celebration. So yeah, thanks for being here today. Have fun making the show. And we will see you in next week's episode of Eat More Football. God bless.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Eat More Football. And then send us any of your questions regarding the show or college football or any sport in general. And we'll answer it in our What's Cooking section at eatmorefb@gmail.com. That's Instagram and Twitter at Eat More Football. And then our email is eatmorefb@gmail.com. See you next time.